right, cool.
I saw a little bit of what you guys put up last week. I was looking at it today.
Yeah. So basically, what is Consciousness Corner? It's basically we're gonna do before regular Spatial Ape kind of a meetup, open discussion sort of thing for anyone that's interested in talking about the heady topics around VR. So that could be meditation, it could be like therapy, it could be cyberdelics, whatever the topics may be. And so we've brought last week. What did we do? Last week we did flow states. This week the topic is many paths up the mountain. And so I have some stuff to kind of get that discussion started on that, and maybe Ben and Nikolai will come and join us again. And in the future weeks we have a couple more interesting talks planned for the next few, and then after that we're looking to we'll keep bringing topics, but also have people kind of guide discussions themselves and give their own sort of talks. So Charles is going to give one in the future because he's got some experience with, I guess, well, his app is social anxiety and kind of therapizing that. Yeah. So that's the context for what is Consciousness Corner. And so so this week's topic is many paths up the mountain. And I guess to start off, what does that even mean? And so for context, I think talking about how people find their own version of peace, their own version of mindfulness, of spirituality, of their own introduction into the space of the mind. It's going to be different for everyone. Some people find it because they read a profound book. Some people get lucky and have like a really cool yoga teacher or meditation teacher. Some people do psychedelics. Or some combination of all these that get people kind of like interested in finding a path towards like, oh, you could say just developing your own kind of peacefulness internally. You could say, if you want to take a Buddhist perspective, you could say a path towards enlightenment or towards waking up. And if you look at various different kind of like let's say philosophies out there, there's kind of like an idealized state at the end. And in this perspective, kind of talking about that as like being the top of the mountain, like when you kind of realize yourself, your fullness of mind and spirituality and consciousness, and you're kind of in a very present moment state. You're here, you're aware, you're living in the here and now. And there's this idea that there's this place that you can attain, or this state of being that you can attain that's kind of idealized, or you could just even call it being very mentally healthy, is something that I think a lot of people recognize, but they get stuck. They enter into this space, this idea like, oh wow, this is something cool, I want to like work towards this, I'm going to start meditating. But then they get lost, because if you start to search around on YouTube or start reading books, there's so much out there, and there's so many different schools of thought on how you should approach this. You might find teachers from the 1960s like Alan Watts or Eckhart Tolle, or some profound teachers that teach stuff. But then you might stumble into like Japanese Zen Buddhism and say, what about them? What are they saying? And then you say like, well, there's Indian Buddhism and Chinese Buddhism and Taiwanese Buddhism are all different things. And then that's all just talking about Zen. There's also all sorts of different schools as well. Theravada and Mahayana Buddhism. And I speak specifically from the Buddhist perspective because that's what I have the most experience in, but also there's people that will say like, well, if you kind of study Christian texts or Islamic texts or other things, you can find a similar sense of like enlightenment and awakenment or awakeness, whatever the word is. For wakefulness. Oh yeah. Through those different sources as well. And so the idea of today's I guess topic is kind of less sharing our own experiences with that, and kind of just addressing that like there's not just one path up the mountain. Everyone comes from a different place of what challenges have you faced in your life? What anxieties have you faced? What like social contexts are you coming from? You were maybe raised in a particular religion. Maybe you've met certain people that have, I don't want to say provoked certain traumas in your life, but everyone has a different spiritual and conscious need, and that means there's no one size fits all path for everybody. I'm gonna read a quick little poem from a Zen poet named Ikkyu. He wrote this in 1394, and it's very simple. It's, many paths lead from the foot of the mountain, but at the peak we all gaze at the single bright moon. And I think it's a very pretty way of saying basically this idea that like yeah, there's not just one right or wrong way. And there's a Hindu proverb I have here, very similar, but a little bit more to it. There are hundreds of paths up the mountain, all leading to the same place. So it doesn't matter which path you take. The only person wasting time is the one who runs around the mountain telling everyone that his or her path is wrong. And I think that's something you guys probably have experienced, or maybe met people that are very insistent on like, no, my way is the only way to heaven, my way is the only way to attain whatever it is that people are trying to attain. And I think that intuitively, you know, if you spend a little bit of time kind of walking in this direction, walking up the mountain, you kind of realize that like it's not about being right or wrong. It's kind of about the pursuit of your own spiritual journey and all that stuff. So before I kind of,
I think yeah, sorry.
No, I was going to say before I go any further and talking about like my own path and stuff, I was going to open it up to you guys to see, you know, what were y'all thinking about this space.
Well, I think what's also interesting is a discussion of what's at the top of the mountain and what that means to different people. Where I think there's many ways of seeing this state of, you'd say, perfect mental well-being, and I think here you know far more than me in terms of expertise on in this area, on the Buddhist philosophies in this area, but I think some people aren't always clear in their minds about what it means in terms of contentment, euphoria. I think the kind of Zen state of mind, I think it's very difficult to qualify. Is there one particular state that's represented at the top? Can it come in multiple forms? Is it a very calm state? Is it a euphoric state? Usually not. So I think this is quite an interesting aspect of it too.
Yeah. I can definitely answer that from kind of like the Zen perspective. But does anyone else want to kind of jump on that first?
Well, at least it's kind of separate, so you guys can respond to that, and
Okay,
yeah. I don't want to divert from it. Yeah.
Sure. Let me give kind of that answer. Yeah, Charles. So I'd say from the Zen perspective, there's kind of a state of mind known as satori, which is this very present awareness in the moment sort of existence. And I think when you first are on the way up, you will find euphoria is on that path. There's like a giddiness as you get closer and closer to it. But I think when you really reach it, it is a calm, aware state. And it might look different for everyone. You know, I think one of the challenges people have with exploring the space is that you can't really put it into words. What is it like to be awakened, to wake up? As like the term Buddha means literally the awakened, the person who woke up. It's almost like if someone wakes up out of the matrix and you look around, you're like, oh shoot, I get it. But you can't really go back in and explain that to people in words. And so in Zen, they use a lot of metaphors, a lot of stories to try to get people to wake up, because they realize that like trying to explicitly say this is what it's like is kind of it's almost foolish. Like the more you try to describe this, the further and further away you get from it. So I'll give one quick story that I want to hear, and I want to jump over to Jeff because I know he has a really interesting topic to preach as well. Different, but also interesting. So there's a Zen story here that is, there's a young monk walking up a mountain, as many stories take place on mountains. Walking up a mountain, he sees an old farmer, kind of coming down the mountain with 2 heavy bags of rice on his back. And the young monk sees this old man, and he just gets the sense that this old guy, he's got it. He knows what's going on. He's awakened. He's enlightened. He's aware. And the young monk stops and he says, "Excuse me, sir. What is the meaning of life? What is it all about?" what does it mean to be enlightened? And the old man, he takes his bags of rice without saying the word. He puts them down on the ground. He smiles at the young man, and he just looks around at the scenery, at the valley, the green mountains around him, the trees and rivers flowing. He just breathes in, and he smiles. And he just looks like he's just taking in everything around him and is just so aware. And in that moment, the young monk kind of witnesses this old man just basically answering without saying a word. And the young monk, he wakes up. He himself understands from this, and he becomes aware. And then he says to the old man, wait, so I get it. I see it. What do I do now? And the old man smiles and he picks up his bags of rice and he just starts walking back down the mountain. And I think it's kind of a very, I think it's a really beautiful story. I think it's kind of a way of answering these questions without explicitly trying to answer the questions.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah. Jeff, where do you want to take us?
Well, it's just I kind of wanted to react, at least share what I thought about the metaphor.
Yeah.
Really didn't think. Correct me if this isn't right, but it seems that even awakening is a metaphor. It's not literally. You can't put it into words. You can't paint a picture of it. And the mountain is just another way of trying to do it. I guess just trying to understand that experience. I get anxious immediately because I have two worries. Right, number one. What if you think you're going up the right mountain and then somehow really close to the top of whatever you've been going up, you realize that it's the wrong one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do? Do you parachute down? Do you slowly go down and then go up the right one, right? Maybe some people just jump off of it, sadly. But, and then the other thing is, when you get there, I think actually the story of the old man and the young man really kind of are answers a part of this, but when you get there or you're approaching, are you always aware of it, or is it like an epiphany that you experience? I guess that my anxiety around it is like how obviously I want to go in that direction. I'm interested in it, but what are the risks involved of pursuing a path like that?
Yeah. So oh gosh, there's a couple different things there that I can go ahead and answer. And I think the first thing you said is like, is the mountain a metaphor? Yeah, it totally is. Pretty much everything related to talking about this has to be put into metaphors because like we were kind of saying, like the more you try to describe it, the further from whatever the thing is you actually end up getting. So the mountain is a metaphor. In Buddhism, they use the terms was it like signs or like signposts or road signs as a way to sort of describe all these different ways of teaching. Is like we are going to point you in the right direction. But that's not actually the place. Or you could say like a map is another way of looking at it. Right? There's different maps, different models that you can use to kind of guide you there. But a saying that I've heard is the map is not the terrain. There's a beautiful piece of art. You may have seen it before. It's a painting of a pipe, like a tobacco smoking pipe. And underneath it says "Ce n'est pas un pipe," and it says this is not a pipe in French. And basically what it's saying is this is a painting of a pipe. This is not actually a pipe. This map of how to get where you're going is not actually the land that you're walking on. The signpost of directions like this way up the mountain is not actually the top of the mountain. It's just a guide to kind of point you in the direction. The mountain, the forest path, the pipe can only be experienced through actual experience in the here and now. So yeah, the mountain is just another metaphor. And then are you getting close to the top of the mountain? And do you know it? And what if you're on the wrong path or not? So I guess actually quicker one of the sub questions there is like could it be a sudden epiphany? Yes, absolutely. There's an entire school of entire style of teaching Zen that is like focused on instant sudden awakening. I forget what
Oh, wow.
I forget what the word is for it, but it's like, in fact, the idea is you don't actually need to go through this long, rigorous path to get anywhere. Yeah, that's sometimes used as a tool by teachers to get students over a whole bunch of hangups that have this idea like, oh, I need to jump through like 30 years worth of meditation hoops before I can truly wake up. There's a story about like a Zen teacher who had a student come to him who like actually was like, please teach me. And the teacher's like, I don't have anything to teach you. Just like wake up. There's nothing to teach. It's just right here, right now. And the student's like so insistent that he literally cuts off his own arm to say, this is how dedicated I am to becoming your student, to having you teach me. And the teacher's like, oh my gosh, this guy's crazy. All right, I'll take you as my student. And he starts making up all sorts of ridiculous things like, yeah, go sit and meditate under a waterfall for like 10 hours straight or something. Or, go jump through hoops 10 times a day, and that'll be like the next level. All of it's just completely made up nonsense to get this person to feel like they've done enough, but then they can actually wake up and be present. So in Zen they have a style of teaching called koans, which are these sort of puzzle stories or riddles. Actually, the mountain, the monk going up the mountain meeting an old man is actually one of these koans, where the idea is that by kind of reciting these koans, the Zen teacher can recite these koans to his students and say, think about this. Come back when you know the answer, when you get it. And by pondering over it, eventually, just like the monk in the story, you wake up. Oh, that thing kind of like snaps you into like an aha moment. And by doing that, you don't have to go through this like 30 years of practice to get there. Sudden enlightenment, sudden awakening is attainable. But we just kind of have to get over our own hangups to get there.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I have a lot of them, but I'll work on it.
Were there other sub-questions in there that I missed? I tried to capture a whole bunch of that.
No, I think you basically got to the point, right? Let me think. In regards to what if you find out because obviously once you're interested in awakening, you have to try. I think. Right? And what happens if you've been trying and like this guy that cut off his arm? Right, like what do you do if you realize? I mean, maybe he had to cut off his arm, and then the other arm, and then a couple fingers, a couple toes. I mean, on the other foot, and then it's like, then oh crap, I didn't need to do all that. Like, I guess you're just awake, and you're damaged awake.
Yeah, I think at that point you kind of come to it and maybe you can laugh. I think part of that, like, being aware, being awakened comes with the sense of humor, comes with the sense of play. Jesse. It comes with yeah, you might have put yourself through a lot more rigor than you needed to get to where you were trying to go. But at the end of the day, that's part of the journey. I think when you get there, it'll no longer kind of really matter to you anymore. It'll be like, ha, silly old me took so many different ways to get here, when all I had to do was just walk in a straight line. But to that point, go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. I mean, I think it's not also just about reaching a state of nirvana. I think the kind of what you're trying to be is someone who's more aware and in tune with their emotional states, the good and the bad. And I think you're overall going to be a happier person and reach a greater place of calm if you can also understand your negative emotional states in a calmer way, as well as your positive ones. So I think the mountain is an interesting one, and reaching the top of the mountain and reaching that place of calm. But I think even more than that, it's general awareness and being able to understand yourself. And I think that probably over time leads to a better state overall.
Yeah. I mean, I actually think that you hit on a lot of really good stuff there, which is just like, through the journey of all the practices that will get you to wherever you're going. And everyone's journey is going to be different. No two people are walking the same path. No two people have the same endpoint. Where you feel like you've reached your state of like, I am fulfilled, I get it. Might not be the same as for everyone else. And just building calmness and awareness along the way is it's a benefit just by walking along that path in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. Much like with physical, your physical condition, you can't guarantee that you're always going to be illness free. And I think it's very much the same with your mental states. There's only so much you can control, and I think meditation and these various practices are especially just about actually being able to handle these shifts and changes in a more Zen way.
Yeah. I think
so if you're awake, I have a question. If say like you've been enlightened, and then is it possible to fall back asleep and become unenlightened?
That's a great question, and I think in my perspective, I think that it is and it isn't. So in Buddhism, they talk about awakened ones are Buddhas. You can have two types of Buddhas. You have the Bodhisattvas and you have the Arhat Buddhas. And so the Arhat Buddhas are people who have awakened and they are just existing in this state of bliss that kind of comes with being totally present. They maybe sit on the top of the mountain and they don't really dive back into the world of all the delusions and stuff that everyone struggles with. Right? They are just enjoying being here. And the Bodhisattvas say, I'm going to take this state of awakeness, and I'm going to go back into the world, and I'm going to try and wake up other people. I'm going to try and share. I'm going to try and help relieve the suffering of the world around me by doing this. And so I think that in the process of these bodhisattvas waking up and coming back into the world, you're putting yourself into contact with all the different delusions and struggles and sufferings that you faced beforehand. Alan Watts talks about basically you need to learn to be that person. You exist in two levels. You exist both in this awakened state where you're like aware of the quote unquote true nature or whatever. You're in that enlightened state, but at the same time you're still down here on the human level. You're talking to other people, you're engaging with the real world. You're not living in a cave by yourself. You're vibing with everything. So I think it is possible to kind of get sucked back down. But once you wake up, it's so easy to remember. Like, oh yeah, I forgot. I'm awake.
Right. Okay. I get that last statement. I understand what you mean by able to regress and not really able to regress. I get it.
Yeah. Also, hello everyone that has joined us. So we've been talking about welcome to Consciousness Corner. If this is your first time here, we've been talking about various topics of awakeness, mindfulness. This whole space is kind of a weekly gathering for us to kind of talk about basically anything from cyberdelics to meditation to today's topic is many paths up the mountain. So for those of you that have been here from the start, you've already heard this. I'm just going to quickly reiterate for everyone just to give them some context. But basically, we're talking about how there's many different paths that people can take on the journey of awakening or spiritual enlightenment, or whatever you want to call it. Personal growth is another way to phrase it. And no one path is truly necessarily the right path, but rather it's kind of like finding your way up that mountain. So I think that now that there's a bigger group here, we can kind of expand the conversation a little bit more. So Charles, Jeff, did you guys have anything lingering that you wanted to kind of pull along for wherever we go next?
I'm happy to hear what other people would like to contribute.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to open up the question out here to say, what kind of journeys are you all on? Where have you kind of found your own sort of spiritual sanctuary, your spiritual teachers, your paths, your sense of guidance? For me personally, it's been through like the Zen school, the Zen Buddhist school, but I'll toss it to Nikolai, who I think's done Vipassana before, and Ben, who has a style of meditation that I don't remember the name of, but I think he could talk a little bit about it, and just talk about what your journeys have been a little bit. Nikolai, I can't hear you. You might be muted.
Nope, we would see if he was.
Oh.
That happened to someone else before. You have to go out and come back in.
It happened to me before.
No, it happened to me a few minutes ago. Just I walked out over there and then.
Ben, can you talk? Can you talk? Are you silent?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Nice.
So, I mean, I'm quite interested in sort of Buddhist philosophy in general, but I do practice a sort of kind of meditation, which is basically mindfulness of breathing, but it's called samatha in the UK, which is just basically working with concentration, trying to develop really high levels of concentration, concentrated states, partly to create a sense of peace and joy, but also to then use that for insight and things like that, which overlaps a bit more with the Vipassana style. But yeah, I think that it's really interesting the sort of intersection of that with the VR, and I've built a lot of that into the major VR project that I've been involved with, which is called Squingle, which is a kind of psychedelic VR puzzle game, and that has a sort of mystical story in it, which tries to engage with some of those ideas through like the idea of transcendence and the universe is on this journey and we're all on this journey and that kind of thing. So encourage you to like check it out.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben. Clap, clap, clap.
Clap sound effects now.
If you actually clap with the controllers, like actually bang your controllers together, it does sort of simulate it.
I'm out of replace them if they break.
Nikolai, can we hear you now?
Oh, I think so. What about now?
Yes.
Sounds good.
All right, great. I'll do it really short because I actually love to hear your stories as well. But I think my path started like 10 years ago with picking up a self-improvement book, and I was like blown away that somebody has actually documented that you could change who you are. I was like, whoa, that's absolutely nuts, right? Why have nobody told me this? And I actually felt really angry, to be honest. And then I just devouring all these books, and I was like, this is so fascinating. And started, doing all this stuff myself, and going from nothing to where I am now is a pretty remarkable journey. I've been able to create a lot of things in my life. I think shortly my life started in Denmark in Copenhagen. So think Lego C++ and The Little Mermaid. And then I started reading all these books, and I was going to business school, and I was like, I want to work at Google. That would be cool. And all of a sudden, I'm there. I'm working at Google, and I was like, I want to move to San Francisco. And all of a sudden, I'm there, obviously doing a lot of work on myself, my own mindset. And I think that's part of the tool that I see these things as. It's like a tool for me to unlock more of who I am. I think that's really fascinating. And then I encountered a problem, which was I was in this cognitive behavioral therapy class in a Hilton room. I was a guy with a flipboard doing like this and drawing like ideas and stuff like that, and people were doing group exercises that were really effective. But I'm like, wow, this is so antiquated. Like, everybody should have this coach in VR. So I couldn't help but build that. So what we build is, this ability to go into VR and actually experience a advanced cognitive behavioral therapy experience that you normally would have like a real coach to do. So now we have it in VR. And I think that's like really exciting because you don't need to read a book. You can just like go in there and get the benefits straight up. The surprising thing is it works. So my journey, I think that the pivotal moments have been Vipassana, being able to think about my own thoughts in real times and feeling and actually notice these things. And I think that's a human superpower for sure. I think also a book by, I think, Eckhart Tolle, which is The Power of Now, which I think is very popular. It was sort of like in 2014, and like my bigger awakening, like, whoa, yeah, I don't have to be like a prisoner of these thoughts. And continuously, as you said, Matt, waking up in this trance we easily get into if somebody cuts us off in traffic or gets anxious and nervous, and actually noticing and figuring out that we're not those thoughts, we're not those feelings, is extremely empowering. And honestly, I'm human. I forget it every day. So that's why I have to meditate every day. And I think I do it every other day. I use Sam Harris Waking Up. I think it's lovely. I've been on Headspace and other things, but I think his content is right for me. I do also have a coach. So every week I talk with a coach about my mindset and how I'm limiting myself and laughing about that and getting above and beyond myself. And then I spin out my stuff in VR in my own experience, and so constantly just changing my brain through all kinds of things. So I think that's the short story. Yeah.
What you got, Jack?
I'm curious. You mentioned talking to a coach every week. How it's common for people to talk to go to therapists. How is it? How's a coach different from a therapist?
I think the fundamental thing is there's two things. One is they don't have to be licensed. You can be certified. So a license is something you carry for X amount of years. You go to a certain school for X amount of years and become a therapist. The experience for you, Jack, or anybody else in here, like Victor or Danny or Philip, is really that a coach is very much like, here you are today, this is the reality, but you want to go to another reality. So how to get from A, where you are, to B, where you want to go, that's what the coach is doing. It's like helping you like see the patterns that keep you from progressing. Yeah. Whereas a therapist generally can do that as well, but generally what they're focused around is like your past, why you are as you are, and why you've become who you are, and sort of your family dynamics and all these other things. Coaches can do that, but they're not like, it's not their main focus. Their main focus is getting you to achieve your desired outcome, which can be a real world situation, or it could be like an internal experience. Matt?
Yeah, and so I'll add in there too that like an interesting parallel is in the Zen schools, the relationship between a student and their teacher, like the sensei or master, or shifu, or whatever they call the teacher in the particular school, is actually considered very, very important. It's usually this direct transmission of, hey, I hear who you are, and I can kind of talk to you at the place that you are at. I can give you a Zen koan that matches your need right now. Personally, I meet with a teacher at the San Francisco Zen Center. I meet with him remotely, but I do it every few weeks just to kind of talk about what's going on in my life, and he kind of reframes it for me. And it's good to have that reflective person, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a therapist or a Zen teacher or a coach. It could be a priest. It could be anyone.
Sometimes even a friend.
It could be a friend that's willing to listen and has a wise mind.
Yeah.
But I think it is important to kind of growing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm curious, about other people's paths. We've mentioned Vipassana and Zen, some other things. What else have you guys had experience with different schools or practices in your time? It doesn't necessarily have to be anything in particular. But what have your paths up the mountain been so far?
This is probably going to sound like a joke, but my path really has been like, like building games, because I think it's been something that like I do it every day, and it's been really helpful for me. I'm a college student right now, but I'm building games on the side, and it's been really great to I feel like I'm progressing every day, and I like have this like token of like what I'm like doing, and it's like I see my work like changing. It's been, since I started, it's been 6 years, right? So I like this whole trajectory of like crazy different projects, and some of them are really bad, but that's that's great, because I can look back and see and just have all these like memories with this project and realize like how far I've come when comparing what I'm doing now with what I did then. And so maybe it's not sort of different, but it feels really nice to feel like a progression like going on. And I think some of my friends are struggling with that, and college is like, naturally there's a progression. I'm working towards my degree, but it, for me, it feels nice to be like working on something now, and like I can see unfolding like.
And then so there's this feeling of progression is sort of like what makes you fulfilled, I can hear.
Because I think like I sort of convinced myself, because my dad was asking me, like, you just turned 20, and I'd be like, shit, I just turned 20. It's like, what the, it came out of sort of nowhere, and I was like, I'm just not gonna waste any time. I gotta make the most use of like all my time now. So, I used to play a lot of video games, but now I've actually found myself playing a lot less games and being more happy. Just having like all that time that was like spent online gaming, just sort of turn that into like building something. Really positive.
Good for you. That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Jack. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really great to hear.
Who else has
this is Philip.
Hey, Philip.
Nice to meet everybody here. As Jesse knows, it's been a mountain to climb to be able to actually get into this space. So I'm pleased after 3 weeks to be able to have figured out a PC, because I'm a Mac guy, and be able to get in here. I am an artist, and I've created a large-scale VR art experience. I'll be talking about it next week. My path started going by living in Japan for 3 years, and I did practice Vipassana there, and I also was a theater performer, which is kind of moving Zen.
Wow.
That's unusual.
And in the past couple of years, I've kind of been opening my mind to different things. I've been a yogi since 2004, and so I do kind of a moving breathing practice through yoga. But I always start by doing a kundalini, kind of go through all the colors of the chakras to kind of balance myself between heaven and earth. And then I also discovered Vishen Lakiani, who wrote The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, and he has a guided meditation, which is less kind of like shutting down your mind, but kind of like going through blessings and gratitudes and what your perfect day is and what your life in 3 years would be like. And I find that when I do that every morning, I really am focused and centered before I start my day. So thank you, everyone.
I think it's super interesting how you kind of combine all these different practices and life experiences to kind of create your unique journey and your unique kind of practice that helps guide you in your life.
Yeah, thank you. I think I was going to say one thing else is about flow states. And Stephen Coulter wrote a book called Stealing the Fire, and it's about how you can perform better when you're in a flow state because you're conscious, and other things kind of fall away, including judgment. And so, artists experience flow states, coders experience flow states, comedians, runners. And when I'm in VR, time just disappears when I'm in Tilt Brush. I can be in there for like 3 or 4 hours, not years. If you go into my experience, it'll seem like it was years. But you can really concentrate, and you come out feeling really a sense of joy and freedom. So.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for sharing. Yeah.
Who else would like to share a little bit about their personal journey? Could be challenges you've been facing along the way, or could be schools or teachers you found, or books that you found have really been helpful in guiding you.
Sure.
Q Creator.
My name is Mike. I'm a musician and composer. Really involved in MIDI and stuff like that in emerging days, and I had some health issues which took me out of the thing, and VR was my therapy. I got to learn to talk again, and I've helped set up 12-step programs in AltSpace, and I'm setting one up in VR chat, and then one in AltSpace has got like 5 meetings a week.
Wow.
It's crowded, like 20 people. It's amazing. So I'm so happy that I can be back in the technology end of things again, because I thought when I had my health issue, I thought that's the end of that. And but I've learned to talk, I've learned to speak, and some people think I should not learn to speak because they're fed up of hearing them from me. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm really, spreading the love. And I think Spatial Ape is a fantastic event. It's brilliant. Great.
I think we all agree with that one.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I don't know if that's along the lines of what you're saying, but that's part of my journey.
Mike, I have a question. Mike, you mentioned setting up a 12-step program. What does that mean for those of us who don't know?
Well, we set up a meeting hall, and it has like posters on the walls that you would have in real life. So people who were going to Zoom calls, instead of doing that, they go to a meeting hall just like they would in real life. And like I say, we started it in the pandemic, and there's 5 meetings a week with about 20 people per meeting. Been going for 1.5 years now.
Yeah,
that's
so
incredible.
What are those meetings about?
Accepted by the people in that realm, sort of thing.
Yeah. I think not disconnect, but like where I'm lacking knowledge is like when you compare it to something in real life, what is the real life parallel?
Well, it's an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have people in sharing and stuff. And one of the things that we've noticed is there are a considerable amount of people who will come in just to take a look, just to see what it's about. Now, that would never happen in the real world.
Right.
Yeah.
But,
I've actually been to an
it's-
AA meeting. Like, there's a lot about, and not that I have, I'm really fascinated with the concept because it could be used to a lot of different things.
And our thing is, because it's a spiritual program, it's like, oh, VR, you know?
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing, Mike. That's super cool.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really. Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
want to jump in and try that out just to kind of see what it is. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else has?
Because I guess I just wanted to comment on that. I think like the 12-step thing, although it started for like Alcoholics Anonymous, I think it's you read like Russell Brand's book, and he obviously used it for his drug and alcohol addictions, but he presents the book in a way that's designed for everyone. Like, we've all got some sort of vice, whether it be to technology or alcohol or some other vice that might not be traditional one that people go to therapy or Alcoholics Anonymous meetings for. But this kind of process is very much like a spiritual stage self-development process that can be applied to many different aspects of your life. As well.
And another thing is, you see, you shouldn't have picked on me because I won't shut up. I make cakes in Tiltbrush, birthday cakes for the people in celebrating the years of sobriety. And I bring them into AltSpace and present them to the people.
That's cool.
That's
Well, I
amazing.
didn't until AltSpace upgraded, but we'll see.
You can't do that until you lose that functionality of moving paintings.
Yeah.
That's cool, though.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Thanks for sharing that. Maybe Philip can help you make cakes.
So one thing I actually do want to kind of jump on what you were just saying there, Ben, because Jeff asked a question earlier in this corner. He was like, what if on your journey you kind of realize you're quote, nearing the top, or you feel like maybe you need to change what path you're on, or like, oh, this maybe was the wrong path for me. And I think just one way to kind of help with that is having a structured kind of path or journey along the way. A 12-step is a great system that someone else has created that's been leveraged and grown and kind of evolved upon. You'll have like in the Buddhist schools, you'll have a teacher kind of set your journey for you, and it could be maybe it doesn't have to be like a step by step, but it could be like a particular person that guides you, a mentor, a yogi, whoever. In Buddhism, they have like the Eightfold Path is like a set of things to kind of build upon in your life, and it gives you steps forward. And I think that can just help anyone find clarity and guidance with how do I progress in my journey? Not that one path is right or wrong or better than the other, but rather, I think there's, I don't want to say danger, but a challenge in trying to find it on your own. Wandering aimlessly can be harder than sometimes finding a path that fits your needs, your personality, your struggles, and kind of trying to walk on something that someone else has kind of laid out before you a little bit. I don't know if anyone wants to jump on that.
Nikolai looks like he's talking.
Yeah, I think the Eightfold Path was really interesting for me in my early 20s. It's like, wow, okay, here's somebody who's actually like sat with the human experience of problems, and then they've written them down and said, well, hey, if you do something like this, you'll feel good all the time. I think that's pretty amazing in itself. So yeah, I think it's helped me sort of frame my understanding of the human life experience. Not that I'm particularly devoted to any single path. I'm much like you, Philip, and you guys that I've heard from that's just hacking things together and seeing how it goes. I think it definitely creates some sort of security that somebody else has gone here before and created a manual for life in some way, right? Without making it into a religious kind of thing, but a way of being, which I think is a huge difference. So yeah, that's like my experience with it. I just want to give Danny and Victor and some of the other the opportunity to kind of share as well, Matt, with the time we have before we kick off. So is anybody else who wants to share their personal journey and what has helped them grow and evolve. Only if there's somebody who wants to share, obviously. I'm furiously looking at Danny, but he doesn't.
All good. All good. All good. No.
All good.
No,
right.
no obligations to share, right? Just sometimes being present for these discussions is in and of itself a part of the journey, kind of learning from each other.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, Matt, what else do you got on the program for today?
Well, I think
spiriting this conversation here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of reaching the end of our time for Consciousness Corner. We'll go until they tell us we have to go over. But I do kind of want to give us a quick preview of, you know, what's going to come. First of all, thank everyone for who's come here. You know, this is a great turnout. Y'all are awesome for being interested in this stuff and wanting to converse and have these deeper conversations and open up and share if you did so. And if not, thanks for listening to the rest of us. Yeah, so much love. This is only our second time doing this, and if you enjoyed it and you want to kind of help support this grow, then we're going to be doing this before Spatial Ape every week. And next week's topic is slated to be psychedelics. So we're going heavy and heady. And also, I think lucid dreaming may also be on the agenda. So psychedelics and lucid dreaming are kind of two topics that
we might have to change that because I'm actually going to be away next week. I'm on holiday.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll bump up the week. Yeah, we'll
figure it out.
We might do something else then next week. We have a channel in the Spatial Ape Discord, so you can kind of follow us. We'll announce what it's going to be. But also, you know, we want to hear from you guys about what you want this to become, because this is now only the second time we've done this. If you have ideas on how we can do this better, if you have topics, if you think that you could lead a discussion here, maybe you have experience. I know some of you guys have apps related to therapy or mindfulness. We would love to have someone bring a complete discussion and their perspective, give a talk and follow it up with questions. We can do small groups afterwards. Whatever works. So this is the Consciousness Corner, and thank you guys all for coming. And right now it's led by myself, so Matt, and my app is Zen VR. If you want to learn more about like the Zen side of things, and you have Ben, who's Bio 998, whose head is currently spinning around. He's putting the psychedelics to good use right now.
Preview.
His app is Swingle, and it also dives into this. And then Nikolai has Horizon Mind, or his app's called The Gift, and so. You know, feel free to reach out to any of us. We'd love to talk about our apps or have you all try it and give us feedback on it. But also, you know, we'd love to know what you guys bring to the table and what you all can share about too. That's what this is all about. So, one more time, thank everyone. Yay!
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. I think main Spatial Ape should be starting just about now-ish. So we can filter out. I'll stick around here, and I'm sure anyone that wants to stick around here and keep talking about the stuff we can until they. I don't really see anyone else out there right now. We can just keep talking here.
A discussion about the Connect.
Yeah. Everybody disappointed.
Just curious what Zen VR is as an app.
Yeah, so it's basically a meditation classroom. So it's not just like a quick relaxation thing, but like a curriculum of lessons built to kind of guide you from maybe the beginner stages of meditation to further along in your path. Unlike just like a quick 5-minute relaxation thing, it's like we do teach new meditation techniques, then we give you a chance to practice them, and then you have like a I'll say like the Buddhist term is Dharma talk, or we'll say philosophy afterwards to help kind of integrate what we just taught in meditation into your everyday life. So it was born out of my master's project, and we're trying to grow it a little bit more. But the idea is like, there's a lot of relaxation apps out there, but no one's really teaching how to bring these things into your everyday life. I will say we do have like kind of a Buddhist perspective underlying it, but it's not like hitting you over the head trying to convert you. It's more just like sharing these ideas in a digestible way.
That's very cool. Kind of like a Zen center only in VR, and you are the sensei. So is it on Steam or is it on the Quest?
So it is on the Quest. We're on the App Lab now, so you can get us on Quest. We are actually going to be releasing on Steam early to mid-November. So we're just kind of waiting for some things to get approved. So we will be on Steam soon.
Well, I have Quest and Steam, so. So
Bit
I
of
can
gambling.
try
check
it on
us.
Quest and
Yeah,
we'll
try
give it
it
a
on
check
Quest.
out and
I love
let
it.
you know what I think.
And your
Yeah,
foot
try
shape.
it on Quest. So right now we have our first lessons out. Our next two should be out within maybe
Goes
2
well with,
weeks. So we'll be lessons 5 and 6 will be coming out, and
coming
then
out.
7 and 8 are slated. We've got a teacher
Yeah,
from the
you
San
think
Francisco
it's
Zen
better.
Center making a pack of lessons for us that'll come soon after, and we're pulling in other like real Zen teachers to create like not just one-off lessons, but like chunks of lessons that kind of go together.
Like what kind of app?
So they kind of build on each other.
Very cool.
Because most of us, a lot of us,
I'll
are
check it out.
creators.
Sure.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah,
Even
sure.
if
And
it's
let me
just
grab your business card
hypothetical
too. I'll add you.
If we were going
If I
to
can add you on
project
LinkedIn or
or
something, I
something,
will.
consciousness and
I'm in
figure out
LinkedIn.
what
It's Philip
kind of
Noyed,
ideas we have,
Noyed.
'cause I think it's good to
Oh,
brainstorm. and
this is your first time in Spatial Ape, right?
Yes, it is.
So if you point at someone and click, you'll get their business card pops up.
Mike,
Oh.
can you like talk a little bit about this?
And then if you click business card, it'll send you like an email with their information. So it makes it a little easier to connect.
What do people?
Well, that's
go through
great.
in that experience.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for letting me know that.
Absolutely. I think that's kind of a cool.
And we have
It is.
What's going on back over here in this circle.
People to read,
Okay. Thank you.
you know.
Okay.
And then it's basically sharing each person what's going on with them. And that's the beauty of it, because people were in the pandemic were crying out for the immersion, like we have one person who's a hugger.
Nice.
She'll go and hug you. You know, if someone's feeling down, then we'll say, you know, so-and-so help go and hug you, and the
Right,
abstract
right.
will go over.
Like
Hug the
literally come
person.
like this. I'm just kind of
Yeah.
like, and then hug.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't get closer, but can you get closer in alt space?
Oh, there's a
yeah, we can.
You can.
So
Maybe that's a
It's fun.
feature request
It's-
for Spatial Ape.
it's just been a very good place for people to talk about what's going on with them, and
Yeah.
you know, we get people coming in, they're panicking, they've been going stir crazy at home. Then they're in
Yeah,
a meeting
I
and
bet.
like, "Ah."
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, it's sort of like peer-to-peer help
Justin.
group in a sort.
Hey,
of
yeah.
way,
How's it
right?
going?
Okay.
Pretty good.
I wasn't at
Consciousness
the AA
Corner went
meeting,
really
so
well
it's
today.
kind of the format. That's really exciting to see how.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that at any point that you want to wrangle everyone away from here to the center, like we are done. We're kind of just in the hanging out
Yeah,
post
I'm
talk.
very much into the therapy group thing. I think that's very, very
Okay, cool.
powerful.
So are there no new booths?
Very
No new booths or
powerful in
anything?
VR.
Okay.
It was all from last week. We took a week off.
Yeah, I got your business card. I actually do want to check it out, Mike. And
Cool.
how do I
Cool.
check
Well, I
it
guess
out?
the
Like,
conversation will just keep living
Go on
over
Vault Space and
over
look
here
up
then.
AA. They're in
Yeah,
events.
so-
There's one tonight at 8 o'clock.
Okay. All right,
Eastern
okay.
time.
All right. I'll definitely
Hey,
check
everyone.
that out.
Hey, Justin.
Hey,
how are you?
Justin.
Hey.
Hi, Justin.
How's everyone doing today?
Brilliant.
Well, very good. Yeah.
Did everyone watch Facebook's acid trip?
I saw some of it. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Mm-hmm. I was
Enjoy-
disappointed that it wasn't a headset that they announced. I was
Yeah,
like,
I'm really
okay.
At least
super
they showed it.
disappointed.
Yeah, they showed it, like teased it next year.
I thought it was going to be Christmas early, but
Yeah.
I bet we'll get it in like April.